Alright folks, what is up? This is One Big Bucket and I am coming at you with League of Legends, the unsung hero of the ARAM series, and in this one I am playing Sion. Now as you can see, the enemy team, we got some pretty big tankiness over there. Volibear, Sejuani, Xin Zhao, Trendemir, Morgana. That's actually a pretty scary team if they were to engage head on. However, we have me playing Sion, we have a Master Yi, we have Jax, who's always strong, we have Nami, and we have Ashe. So our team's not bad, but if the enemy team decided to hard engage us with their CC and their kill potential early on, they could have ran us into the ground, no problem. I've seen scary teams like that before and just do that. That Volibear could have just run us over, followed it up with Sejuani and Xin Zhao coming in, and then Morgana. Man, there's just a lot of potential on that team. But as you can see, or as you will see in a minute, that's not what happens. So, anyway, Sion. Sion to me finds new life in the ARAM. Unfortunately for him, he is one of those champions where you gotta get kills. You know, there are some champions you can get away without getting kills. You can just be a poke champ. You can just be annoying and harass. Sion, on the other hand, in order to truly be effective, you really need to get in there and get kills in most occasions. AP Sion, which is what I'm going to be playing here, shares similarities with Volibear, which I brought you earlier in the video I uploaded just before this one. Nice stun, and Trendemir is going to take a ton of damage. Man, that was a really stupid flash on my part. And I'm going to take a hell of a lot of damage too, so kind of an even trade there. Again, just going too far, but yeah, the standard trade at the beginning, except nobody dies on this one. You know, sometimes it happens. But AP Sion, very strong early mid game, but falls off pretty hard in the late game, and somehow Master Yi walked out of that. As Ashe picks up Sejuani now, so that gives us 2 quick kills early on, and just no fear walking the Volibear, who I believe, yeah, his passive was already triggered, so he just goes down. So yeah, your shield, you level it first, very strong, just popping in. Of course, your stun, the amount of damage you can put out very early on. Sion can be just that strong and disruptive. Plus, as an AP Sion with your E, when you decide to level that up, can be really devastating as well. You can put out a surprising amount of physical damage without actually building physical. On the other hand, if you were to build Sion AD, which I'm going to be honest with you, is actually the way I prefer to build Sion, despite what people say about it. If you were to build Sion AD, you're a late game threat, and early game, you're weak. You know, that's Sion. You're either the early game threat, early and mid game threat, or you're the kind of late mid game to late game threat. As Sion, with my passive at one point, I actually 1v4'd a team, and this was a while back though, just became a huge threat even out of the jungle. So yeah, AD Sion, you get that really late game threat. Unfortunately, most ARAMs don't go that long, so going in AD Sion is actually pretty hard at times to get up that far. That's kind of why I'm going AP in this one. Between that and the fact that we only have a Master Yi as AP, and that we have a Jax and Ashe, so we need a little more AP damage. Now, Sion's biggest detractor, regardless of what type you play, is his mana situation. As AD, you use it a lot less, but as AD, as I actually managed to snipe out Sejuani from under my team. But as AD, if you run out of mana, it's not such a big deal. As, yeah, that stun, man. Early on, that stun is just so strong, just being able to work it like that. Sion, he's great at counter initiation, he's great at initiation. Early game, like I said, you're a major threat as AP, as AD. Your stun can be intimidating, but not as intimidating as going AP, just because nice Nami wave there. Really nice Nami wave, just taking out a ton of damage. I'm sorry I lost my train of thought there, but as AD, you can get away with your mana getting low. As AP, man, I'm constantly coming back and grabbing these health sigils because I'm just dying of mana. Despite having 2 Duran's rings, I'm still just suffering in terms of trying to keep my mana up. So, yeah, unfortunately, Master Yi went too far, Jax went too far, but again, it's ARAM, so it's not terrible. You know, we have a 10-kill lead before 5 minutes of the game. So I really don't think there's a lot to worry about. And even though Ashe does get killed, I managed to take out Xin Zhao, and then we're just going to walk away. I actually turn around and fight because I have my ulti, so I'm really not that afraid. There's not a lot of damage here. There's just none. You can see I can just continue to stand in with my ulti and just keep dealing that damage. I'm just not going to back out. I'm just going to keep throwing that damage in, and unfortunately she has shield, but I do manage to kill her regardless. I do get shut down by Volibear, but that's okay. I don't mind giving up the kill to Volibear. Despite last one I said Volibear can be that early game monster, the person playing Volibear here just doesn't do so. He seems a little bit more timid. Now, the problem I have with Sion is I keep accidentally shutting off his E because I press the button. I'll either fat finger it by accident, which for me isn't hard to do, or I'll hit it like a skill. You know, I'll just hit like a skill shot because my mind goes into press all buttons for whatever reason. Or I'll go to hit R, like I said, and I'll fat finger it off by accident. I mean, I just turn and take the Volibear flip because just early on I can survive it. They're low health anyways. A beautiful Nami wave just cuts that down. You see the damage we're throwing out, the CC we have. The enemy team has no chance at this point. I mean, early on I got some nice kills. I'm trying to wait out the Trendemir rage, but he spins and then flashes away. Which, I'm going to be honest here, it was truly a waste. You'd have been better off dying. Seriously. In terms of an ARAM, you'd have been much better off dying and coming back full health early. But now, because of what's gone on, Trendemir really can't contribute to anything. And at this point, with this much of a lead, by 7 minutes in, we have already gone to the point where this team just can't come back. We're throwing out way too much damage. We have way too much CC, way too much sustain to really be intimidated anymore. The enemy team's kill potential to take the lead and bully us was early on. With Volibear, Morgana, and Sejuani taking up the front line. So, because they didn't really hard engage us, and we did the dance around at the beginning rather than going full bore and trying to focus down a couple people, they blew any chance they had of being able to take a lead. I mean, yes, we have Ashe, yes, we have Master Yi, yes, we have Nami and Jax, but their team was still could be quite terrifying. Xin Zhao has so much early game kill potential. Sejuani has so much CC as I go a little too balls deep there, but again, another beautiful Nami wave catching everyone on the enemy team. And there's just not going to be a lot that they can do. Look, Trendemir's running away, he's dead, there we go, and dead. You know, despite being low health, you know, just beautiful Nami wave, the hesitation on the enemy team just, and at this point, it's a runaway. 27-8, and we're not even 9 minutes into the game. Well, it's 27-9. But what can you do? With Sion, as with most APs that are in there, in your face and more physical, or that kind of rely on auto attacks to a degree, much like Twisted Fate, I like to build the Lich Bane first. You know, I'm just letting my shield absorb damage. You can see it hasn't even popped yet. I'm just walking out of that. They have no damage at this point between those two. All their damage would have been focused around Tryndamere and Xin Zhao, with Sejuani and Volibear taking up the front line, and Morgana being that disrupted ulti force, dark binding and all that, but not anymore. It's just not enough. They're still scary tanky, but with an Ashe at this point who's fairly fed, it's not something we're worried about. As you see, I'm level 10, Ashe is level 11, Nami's level 11. The enemy team on average is about level 9. So yeah, you see Volibear just gets exploded.
My right arm is a lot stronger than my left.
So at this point, the enemy team knows they're done. Some of them continue to try. You see the Tryndamere is kind of goofing off a little bit, but man, I felt bad for them. You know, I feel bad for any team that gets really beat like this. I really want to go after the Morgana. Unfortunately, my shield gets popped before I could use it, so I end up having to back out from the turret. But Tryndamere just gets bursted down instantly, and the turret's following him. So overall, you know, not bad. 5, 2, and 10 for a Sion, especially AP Sion early on. That's really just pretty good. Of course, I got a really good team behind me, and that's complemented by a, well, not so good team on the other side. And I really don't think it's just their team comp. You know, they had a good early strong team that they could have used to bully us, and they didn't. They just didn't. And Tryndamere's biggest fault, as you can see, is he actually tried to go AP Tryndamere. AP Tryndamere can be really scary on Summoner's Rift, even after being nerfed. It's just, look, I walk away with like 50 health. I still managed to get out. At this point, I really should have just died. I decided to give the kill up because I'm like, you know what? At this point, I'm not being any help, so I'm just gonna let myself be killed by the turret. Giving the kill up at this point, it doesn't matter. So yeah, AP Tryndamere can still be really scary and really effective in Summoner's Rift. On Murder Bridge, in ARAM, and Howling Abyss, it's really not that much of a threat because Tryndamere, AP Tryndamere works on getting high cooldowns and being able to build up that rage bar to full 100% for the big heal to help keep you alive. You cannot really get that in ARAM because you have 4 other people vying for the same minions. I just don't care. I just go after Tryndamere. I have my ulti, so I'm just going to play that out. And even though we lose Master Yi, you know, we still have Jax. Ashe is coming. I'm just not worried. And yep, that's the end of Tryndamere. So yeah, going AP Tryndamere on ARAM, just man, just boom, half of her health gone, half of his health gone, and then comes Volibear, but Ashe is there now. And beautiful Nami wave hits 2 of them, and they're just not going to get away as I actually snipe out Morgana. At this point, I'm like, I'm really just goofing off at this point. I don't care. It's like, hey, you want to fight 1v1? Okay, let's fight 1v1. I don't care if the turret's hitting me. You know, there's the stun, and I think my shield popped before I could do anything. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep going. I don't care. You know, it's a runaway Roflstop that's going to come to an end at this point. But yeah, Sion, as you can see, you know, I had a really strong team behind me. Ashe, of course, 14 kills. Jax, 13 kills. I've only got 9. But still, you can be just that early, upfront, disruptive force if you go AP, or you can hope to help, you know, make Sion go later AD and become that unstoppable killing machine later in the game if the enemy team doesn't have a lot of CC. And you know, the enemy team here, I could have done that. I could have gone for AD Sion because the Morgana ult and the Sejuani ult are the only 2 things I would really have to worry about because they could lock me down. Oh, and Morgana's Dark Binding. But in terms of holding me in CC and beating me down long enough, they probably wouldn't have been able to do it. But I decided, like I said, to go AP Sion because we have Master Yi and there is Nami, but that wasn't enough. You know, we have Ash and Jax to the more AD side, so I just decided to go AP Sion. Keep in mind, if you're going AP Sion and it goes into late game, yes, ARAM does have a late game. If you go past 25, around 30 minutes, you can consider yourself in a late game at that point for ARAM. You're going to be much less effective as Sion in an AP. However, in an AD, it's that late game where you hit your stride and become that one monstrous force that everyone will be scared of. So Sion is not someone to flinch at and be afraid of using. Your stun can be a great initiation or counter initiation. It can be very surprising because, kind of like Heimerdinger, a lot of people underestimate what Sion can do because you never see him anymore. He doesn't fit the game meta anymore in Summoner's Rift, so you don't see him anymore. But he's still an amazing early and mid-game force that has so much early burst potential as an AP, or so much you can't kill me as an AD late game, that a lot of people just don't see it coming, and you can use that to your advantage in order to just really take over the enemy team and get your team rolling into an unstoppable force. Now granted, much like Volibear, my contribution was not that big in this game as I'm making out what Sion, you know, as I'm talking about Sion and what you can do. But that is the potential that Sion has. So if you roll Sion in ARAM, don't be afraid to utilize what he has. Look at your team, see what you need. If you need an AD, try and get a lot of assists. Try and be in there. Build a little tanky bruiser at the start and then build that damage at the end, and just watch how amazing you can be in terms of an unkillable machine. If you need AP, be that early stun, shield pop, and just surprise the enemy team and just how much damage you can chunk out of them with those two moves. It really makes a difference. Alright folks, that's going to be me done for this one. I hope you've enjoyed the double episode that I brought you today, Volibear and AP Sion, two early to mid-game champions that have that really early potential to help get your team rolling in terms of being just a dominant force and winning the game. Even though I only contributed a little bit this one, it still kind of gives you the idea of what you can do. Until next time folks, this is One Big Bugger signing out, and I'll see you then.